Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to your daily dose of getting ready for 3.18. The hype train is starting to roll. As always, I advocate temperance and patience, and don't get too hyped. Be realistic and set your expectations based on what you actually want to do in the game and how it's going to fit in your life. As I said in my last video, I really want to attack this from a different perspective than I've done in the past. Than really anyone does, as far as I know. As we are well aware, the main thing that people talk about when it comes to a league start, and I think part of the reason why the growth across the board is kind of stagnant, is we are overly focused on builds. They're exciting, it's fun, it's a different mechanic, it's the way that you interact with the game, but there is so much that goes into a league start. I want to attack this from a totally different perspective. And I just want to talk about a thing that isn't really talked about, but I think will really enhance the growth. And if you follow along and you follow this advice and you learn from it by getting subscribed and ringing the notification bell, oh my God, I plugged it, I did it. Woo! You can really elevate your experience on a league start. And we can try to get out of that rut of, everyone being obsessed about league start builds and everyone having the exact same league start every league, right? If you compare how much effort you put into focusing on league start builds and following all of that, getting on that train, right? And just like, that's what everyone is like temporarily excited about. But then, 1-2 weeks into the league, all right, I'm playing my build's doing the thing. What else am I doing in the game, right? There's so much more, especially in your league start and finding success within that league start. That is not your build. That's not just leveling. That's not just trying to get those gems and all that. Now, while the cycle of the game is generally really build focus, getting better gear, upgrading your build, playing your build, there is so much more. Let's pop into what actually I'm talking about here. When you look at the people that have very successful league starts and the people that have the same league starts every single league, right? If you have played multiple leagues and you are following along with league starters, multiple leagues in a row, and you're still asking questions that generally have the same answers, I think the most important thing is to fundamentally break down why you haven't gotten there yet. Actually, in the community Discord that we have below, one of the community members asked a question this morning that I found very interesting. They said, "Hey, can anyone help me? I'm starting the league late. Can anyone help me with my EA Totem character? I have 17 chaos." And I was like, "Can I give you 200 chaos? This is a very easy build. Hopefully the guide helps you out enough, and 200 chaos should get you going, right? It's a very solo self-found, very viable, like easy build, right?" And then he said, "Well, I don't even know what I would do with 200 chaos." And then he said, "Please help. Do I need attack? Do I need defense?" And like, I could have, right, opened up his POB and said, "All right, buy Cool Rain, buy Skirmish, buy whatever," right? And I'm always going to be talking about this from like a personal growth. How do we get you to being an advanced player, right? Even if you're casual, even if you are a casual player that just wants to sit down and chill after work, I know, that's important, right? Even if you're a casual player that wants to sit down after work, be totally, totally chill and not like grind out the game, think in terms of the amount of hours that you're putting into the game and how much enjoyment that you're getting. Just a little bit of short-term investment, 30, 60 minutes a day, every other day, a couple times a week, of just doing a little bit of research, analyzing your process and your understanding of the game. Just a little bit of effort there will pay incredible dividends in your overall enjoyment for, the game as a whole, right? And I advocate this for whatever you're doing in life, right? So like, okay, every single league start, and this is going to get to what's on the screen right now. Every single league start, it still takes me like 20 hours to hit maps, right? And every single league start, no matter how good the guide is, right? Like everyone tells me to follow, Zizran's guide or, Subtractum's Bane guide or something like that. And I'm still confused, right? I'm still confused a few days into the league and I don't know what to do. I have like 15 videos in the playlist. I have like 2 pages of notes in that POB that tell you exactly what to do. This is a very complicated game. How do we break that down and figure out what are you missing? Like, what don't you know about the game that can't be solved in a build guide? That's what I want to, start talking about that process. Let's take a step back, understand, if you watch my crafting video, right? Like, there's a reason why my crafting video was so fundamental, talking about what is a white item, blue item, yellow item. What does a chaos orb do if you use it, right? What does it represent in the game? Yes, this is a fun video game that is fun to play, but it is a complicated game that pays dividends by investing in it. No matter what, how simply you want to play the game, it still will ask of you to learn things, right? And that's why I always talk about enjoying that journey, enjoying that process of learning more and more in the game, right? As long as you have that mindset, let's start attacking how you can rework your league start and rework your process of your league start so that it can be successful. I'm just starting to gather this stuff for my own personal process, and I want to walk through it with you guys. I want to show you guys the full thought process and like what I'm doing, what I'm setting up as I'm preparing for this. And even if you do like 10% of what I'm doing, if you normally just like YOLO in 20 hours, 30 hours to kill Katava, maybe something like this can help you, get a handful of exalts within the first week, kill Cirrus, start accomplishing your goals, whatever. How am I breaking this down? And I've basically just spent the past, couple hours thinking about this. If I just do, 30 to 60 minutes of prep every other day, a little bit of thinking about it right now, in 2 weeks' time, when the league start actually happens, I'm going to practice, perfect practice makes perfect. And earlier preparation makes perfect profit. Earlier preparation makes Peter Piper pick a perfect practice, I guess. Just doing a little practice, little prep, and thinking ahead, and just thinking about it. Like, even if you're just going for a daily walk and you're letting those ideas kind of percolate with Peter Piper's peck and pickle peppers, if you're just letting those ideas percolate in the back of your mind, a lot of P words today. Also, I wanted to do like the 3 Ps: plan, prepare, and practice. I guess it's P day. Drink a lot of water, friends. Anyway, just start thinking about it. Just start preparing. Let's get into the details. So I kind of broke this down into planning. This is kind of like the high level thinking about it type of stuff. Actually preparing, getting our tools ready, getting our trade searches ready, and actually preparing if we want to do things like crafting for profit or anything like that. Writing down actually what we're going to go for here. Open up Notepad and, exactly like this. Open up Notepad, start writing down things. Like, just have like an absolute, like, a mess of a journal here, right? Anything you think of, write it down, just save it in a text file on your desktop. I guess if you're more organized than me, you put it somewhere else. My desktop's just a hot mess. But yeah, just start writing things down. I think of something. What do I want to do? I want to play traps, right? And what traps are in the game? Fire trap, explosive trap, ice trap, whatever. Conversion trap. The king of traps, right? Start writing all that stuff down. Just put it in like a mind map of like random whatever. Get those details down and then refine that. You have over 2 weeks now. Start refining those ideas. Glance at it here and there. Start thinking about it a little bit day to day. Your brain will just automatically make those connections as long as you're actively like prodding at those ideas, right? The most important thing I do think is picking your first build, but I'm advocating don't overcomplicate it here, right? As always, this is what I say, TMTMC, and sometimes Y. Unless something fundamentally changed in Path of Exile, traps, mines, totems, minions, chaos, and then there are some weird other things that do tend to scale nicely. You can fit in steal skills, righteous fire. There are a little bit of dark horse candidates as well that are really, really good. But primarily, these are the things that will scale very, very, very easily, right? Toxic Rain, Poisonous Concoction, Bane, stuff like that. And then everything traps, mines, totems, minions. Look at historical data. Look at what have been good league starters in the past. And it is what it is. What I'm going to be doing is picking something kind of boring, but as always, tweaking it for myself. And have that planned out. Have your POB, have your actual build. Write notes, like have your own notes for what you're going to be looking for and what you want to do. Write down all of the items you want to buy. Make sure you're ready to buy them when they become available. Get them as early as possible, and know what to look for as you're leveling up, etc., etc. Have an Atlas unlocking strategy. I think while it's not it's really not a big deal anymore, right? Like the Atlas is so simple compared to what it used to be. You can kind of just like play, but
I'm not up to that just
especially
yet.
if you're not very comfortable with Atlas unlocking yet, it'll really pay dividends. Do a little bit of research, look at what the top players are doing, how they're unlocking their Atlases, what they're looking for. They do it consistently every single league, right? And there's no magic. Like if you're also playing, especially if you take the weekend off and you do like a very intense league start, what they're doing and what you're doing should be exactly the same, right? Or at least, let's say you're half as efficient or 1/10 as efficient. You can still do what they're doing, right? Understand what the top players do, study them a little bit. All the resources are out there. Write down what you want to do and just do it, right? Like, and I would just like, as always, write things down. Like, what do I want to do? I want to reminders, right? Horizon orbs. Remember, you can use horizon orbs, Kirak, early scouting reports, right? Buy scouting reports really, really early. You can use those for rolling quicker map, map completion. Make sure to use all early currency. Always chisel, elk, and vol. Remember to vol every single early map. Use all fragments, right? Every single Adziri fragment, everything that you can do, every fragment, scarabs, everything. If you have any of them early, don't hoard them, right? Use them as soon as possible because you want to get your map pool up as quickly as possible. When you have a lot of maps, sell extras. And then when you sell extra maps that you don't need anymore, you can buy the other maps and buy and trade, using these strategies. And this is just off the top of my head, obviously. Understand, right? Like watch the replays of the top players and how they do this and follow along with what they do and understand these tools and what's in the game. And, if you do this stuff, write it down. Keep this stuff written down in your notes, in your journal for how you want to do your league start. And you will also be able to fight Cirrus on at least, like day 3, 4, 5, whatever your speed is. Just understand what's in the game and take advantage of it. And also, like, especially, your instinct may be to hoard things, hoard currency, hold on to it. You're going to end up with stuff like this, right? It's just you're going to have a bunch of garbage you're not going to use. Your fragments are going to look like this. Like, do I imagine if I actually use these cartography scarabs instead of just sitting on them, right? I have almost 100 cartography scarabs. If I use those early, ASAP, and got my map pool up, think of how that could have catapulted my league start. If I just any scarab, right? Take all my scarabs, I don't care what it is, take all of them, and then every single map that I run, right? Just have this ready. Make sure you use all of these free Kirak crafting in the map device now. You get a free one of these at the beginning of every single league. Use them right away. Use them on your white maps. Make sure you're enhancing your quant of your maps as soon as possible. Use all your white master missions as soon as they show up. Take advantage of everything that's in the game. Get your Atlas unlocked ASAP. Find out the early items that you want to find and buy. Set up searches for them. Make sure that you're looking out for what you're going to look for. Don't forget things like vendors. Don't forget things like heist or looking at whatever the new league mechanic is, the new Sentinel league mechanic. What does it give me certain types of uniques? Can I target farm my Quill Rain or something, right? That's a thing you could do with Arch Nemesis this league is people were just target farming like mudflats and just you could force a Quill Rain basically within an hour. And then you get your Quill Rain, boom, EA Blista, you're popping off, right? Just really take a hard look at what the league mechanic is doing and be smart about does this get me when you see what the league mechanic's going to be, have your list up on your other monitor, on your phone or whatever, and just scroll through it and be like, oh, I'm looking for this type of thing and the new league mechanic is going to give me that. What is my goal for the league start? This will keep you grounded, right? As always, kind of the fundamental of my Path of Exile content here is to figure out a way that the game is fitting in your life in a healthy way that is not toxic, right? So while I am advocating this growth and I am talking about ways that you can level up your abilities, make sure that you're A-Evol, not sacrificing anything in your main life, right? It's just a game. You can league start a month late, doesn't matter, right? None of that matters. Make sure that you're just playing in a way that's healthy and keeps you happy. Make sure you're still having fun. If you're not having fun, it's just a game. Just quit it. But set your own personal goals, right? And you don't compare yourself to other people, right? Yes, people like Tai Killer and I'm Exile, they will kill Cirrus on the night 1, right? Don't compare yourself to them, right? They have dedicated their lives to doing this. Most likely for you, that this is not what you want to do in your life, right? As like you have not dedicated your life to this game, and that is okay. It's just a game. Figure out what you want to do. I just want to kill the new bosses. I just want to have my first headhunter, something like that. Set a realistic goal that fits in your life, and then work towards that with a plan. Play, you don't have to play hyper efficiently, but play in a way that, doesn't negatively impact your life, and, set up a plan for how you're gonna do that. And this will keep you grounded, and you won't be as angry, like there's always like this, a negative feedback loop when you see, oh, someone entered depth 1000, and I'm like, I'm in act 2. It's like, all right, cool. What am I even doing? But don't compare yourself to those people. Figure out how the game fits in your own life. If you think of what your second build is ahead of time, here's the big pro tip that a lot of people don't think about is people always talk about builds later on. They talk about builds when they get hyped up, right? And here's the big thing that will save you a ton of currency and allow you to do the big boy stuff in a way that makes you really, really happy is if you plan ahead and you think about the way that you want to morph into your second build and prepare for it before other people do, right? Because this economy is small and fast moving, when there is something that is hyped up, especially like, oh, this new build guide came out for this cool build that looks awesome, but it's really expensive. The price is going to skyrocket, et cetera, et cetera. What I would advocate is if you have like a 3-month lead time, or I guess a lag time based on the big boy builds that you want to play, then you will be much more comfortable. And the demand usually is much lower, especially going to the next league. My earliest example of that is like the old Cast on Crit Ice Nova, the original Assassin Cast on Crit Ice Nova. This was a build that like 50% of players would play every single league, but they wouldn't think about it. It's not a league starter, right? But it would be many, many people's second build every single league. When that inflection point hit of like, okay, everyone's got, 500 chaos. Everyone wants to play Cast on Crit Ice Nova right away. But if you want to play Cast on Crit Ice Nova, it's interesting, right? I did this by going to like PoE Antiquary and looking at the price of items like a Cosby's Malice. Like the price of the item was actually really low for the first week of a league because everyone is poor. And so they don't think about playing that build until they have the money. And so the price, the demand is actually low because no one's looking to buy it, right? If you are buying the items for your second build, let's say you want to play, you want to play like a lightning arrow build, or you want to play Crystallized Omniscience, Ashes of the Stars, a ward loop build, anything that was really popular this league, pending nerfs and all that. Be prepared, right? Already set up your trade searches. Now we're gonna get into that right here, but already set up your trade searches, right? Of like, okay, I am ready to buy a Cosby's Malice or a Shav's Wrappings or anything like that. They might be really expensive the first couple days, but that's just the people that want to buy them immediately. The price is going to go down and then it'll shoot back up once more and more people start thinking about buying for their second build, right? But especially something like Ward Loop, like things like To Dust Jewels, especially, you can buy every To Dust Jewel and corrupt it and try to get, Corrupted Blood To Dust Jewel. Annihilating Light might be really cheap. People might not be building around that. Ward base gear, look for Ward base gear that's perfectly rolled. Anything like that is like really expensive when the hype train is going and everyone is looking to build it, when the content creators put their videos out. But super, super early on, no one is looking for that stuff. Everyone's just looking for, okay, I want my Quill Rain and my Tabula. But if you're thinking just one step ahead, you could buy all of that stuff for like 50, 100 chaos and you're just done. And like this is the thing where, it's really hard for me as a content creator to talk about price and budget, right? This was the thing with the Bane build, right? Is when I first put together the Bane build, I spent like 2x. It was like 2 to 5x on the fractured +3 chaos gem staff, right? Because there was no demand until I made up that build and made a video for it. No one wanted that item. And that like people have like they have like the memory of a gerbil when it comes to a fresh league start, right? People are only thinking very, very short term of what do I need for my first build. plan out your second build, set up your trades right away, buy those items immediately, and you're going to be the guy with a build that everyone's like, oh, you spent 500 exalts on that build. Oh, okay, whatever, rich guy, you probably RMT'd, blah, 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 and they're going to complain and they're going to be jealous of you, but you were smarter than them, right? You set up your trade searches earlier, you bought all that stuff for like 50x total, and everyone's like, oh, that's like a 2-mirror build, and you're like, no, I'm just smarter than you, and I prepared. And that's all it is. Understanding the economy, understanding the ebb and flow, and understanding how to play around with it. And this is actually a thing I'm going to talk about quite a bit in 3.18. There's a reason, right? The same people can solo play this game and make tons of mirrors every single league because they understand the flow of the economy. And they don't have to be like aggressively trading or going out of their minds. Like, oh, I'm always on and I have a bunch of traders and I'm doing group play. Group play is actually not the most efficient way to get the richest in the game. Solo play with like maybe one friend is actually like the best way to do it once you understand like when you ascend to the next level of the economy. And that's like, I don't do that, but I have friends that do that. And that's where you get to the next stage of evolution in the game. So do that. Prepare for your second build. You'll save a ton of currency and you'll be so much happier, starting to get ready for your head. You get your headhunter and all that ready and you're just ripping things up. So yeah, prepare for your second build and start buying those things early. Look for Frenzy Power Charge Rings, Frenzy Shield, anything like that. Early Paradoxica, stuff like that. And then you can be popping off with like a Giga Chad, Ice Bite Shaco build like I have right now for just like, 50 exalts early league, and everyone's going to be jealous of you. And you're going to feel pretty happy. Unless you make a post on Reddit and then everyone complains and downvotes you. So that is the first P of the 3 Ps. The second P is actually preparing your tools specifically. Awaken PoE Trade, if you don't have it, I find the game unplayable without it. It is a tool that lets you do price searches. It also has overlay stuff, so you can have like an in-game overlay, especially if you have only one monitor. It's really, really good. I think it's, understanding how it works. It is getting a lot better, but understanding how it works in regards to like how to search for things, doing active searches. You can pop it out to the actual trade site. Learning how to use PoE Trade is its own thing. Really nice up here is you can mouse over this and you can get your quick little exchange rate for what the exalts are going for, which is really nice. I find the game unplayable without it. Quick little thing that I love about Awaken PoE Trade, check this out, is you can I have it bound to Control M, but you can make it search for certain things that tell you whether something is scary. Let's find a scary mod here. Let's look for Reflect or something like that. Scary or good mods. Yeah, cannot regenerate. So I have cannot regenerate configured as a no-go. That's a no-go. And you can actually configure these as you want, right? So you can configure, oh, I hate temp chains, right? So you can just make that's a no-go. Or you know what? Temp chains is scary, but I can do it. Or you can look for positive ones, right? Like, Solaris Fanatics. Maybe I like that. Make that green. And you can just configure this live. And then you can roll all of your maps, and I have it bound to Control M. Just go down the line, press Control M, and that's how you can batch roll your maps really, really well. Awaken PoE Trade is incredible. Find the game basically unplayable without it. The wiki, make sure you go to poewiki.net. Unfortunately, I don't think that this has fixed yet. Unfortunately, Google still pushes the fandom wiki first, but poewiki.net used to not even show up on the first couple pages. So the SEO is getting better here, but unfortunately, fandom wiki is still on top. Do not use the fandom wiki. It is owned and run by a corporation. People do not update it anymore. It is bad. Use poewiki.net, which is actually community run. It is up to date. It is the good one. The trade site, everyone knows the trade site, pathofexile.com/trade. I don't use this personally because I primarily trade in Firefox. The Firefox mod has not been updated in almost 2 years now, but the Chrome one is fairly up to date, November 2021. And a lot of people really swear by this. This is better Path of Exile trading. And I'll put all these links in the description below. But this lets you keep track of multiple bookmarks and a history and all that. You can pin items. And a lot of people just say, are you dumb? Why aren't you using better Path of Exile trading? But the Firefox mod hasn't been updated in a while. So I don't use that. But if you use Chrome, looks like it's up to date. And a lot of people swear by it. So there's that. The Enhance PoE app, this is the PoE Chaos Recipe Enhancer. This thing is really, really slick. It will actually highlight items that you want to pick up and tell you how many that you have in your stash for doing the Chaos Recipe. and it will, it's really, really slick. It's really good. This is my first league using it. It can take a little bit of work to configure, but it's worth it. The chaos recipe right here. I actually didn't know there was a 3 chaos version with all 20% quality. Wow. That's a recipe. Wow. Anyway, a full set of gear. So you need, weapons, helmet, belt, everything between item level 60 and 74, all unidentified. You will get 2 chaos. Apparently, if they're all identified and 20% quality, you get 3 chaos. You specifically want to do between 60 and 74. If you're above 74, you actually only get regal orbs. And if you're below that, you get chance orbs. So this is the recipe. This tool will tell you, it'll automatically update your filter, and it will tell you, you want to have like a custom filter for this, but it will tell you which items to pick up. And then it will actually give you a grid overlay for showing you what to pull out of your stash to sell a full set and get your chaos. With this tool, you can easily get dozens of chaos per hour at the beginning of a league when you're doing your early whites and yellow maps. And that will give you a very big, launch pad to start buying things and give you more economic power in the economy. So I strongly recommend using this. Only do it for between 2 to 4 days. The effort that you have to put into it, there will be diminishing returns based on like how quickly you can map. And later on, once you have a fast build, right, you want to basically turn all the rares off on your filter, go fast, and just pick up raw currency and good items. But for the first 2 to 4 days of the league, this can be a great way to get a ton of currency. To the point, right? Even if you're not mapping super, super quickly, whenever, right? When people tell me like, oh, I only make like, I don't know, 20 to 50. I saw some comments recently, like I only make like 20 to 50 chaos per hour, like max. If you just do this and you don't sell anything and you only pick up this and like raw chaos on the ground, you will get at least like an additional, 30 to 50 chaos per hour. Just this. So like, if you're doing absolutely nothing except for the chaos recipe, can very easily get 30 to 50 chaos per hour. Anything on top of that, right? So like, this is one of the reasons why if you're not making at least 2 to 4x an hour, you're literally just missing game knowledge, right? Of like how the game works, because there's no reason besides game knowledge, right? So here's the tool. If you don't know about it, this will give you at least 30 to 50 chaos an hour. Do it, and if you're mapping slowly, do it longer than 2 to 5 days. And then in addition to that, as we all know, if you haven't used Path of Building yet, this is the go-to tool that will help you. Make sure you use the community fork. The original is, totally abandoned. Use the community fork. This is the tool for importing builds, sharing builds. It's a very, very good tool. It's, if you don't know about it yet, this is it. It'll help you import builds. You can look at them. You can put items in here, et cetera, et cetera. Practice. Do leveling runs, even if it's like casual, couple hours a week. It's 2 weeks away. Very casually, make a new character, make it solo self-found. If you want to push yourself, solo self-found hardcore, and just try to get through the acts. Just try to get through the acts and time yourself and measure things and like actually see what is tripping you up, right? Now, while there are mechanical, like what the speedrunners do, right? They do mechanical things like the merchant walking, where they can like click a merchant and then walk away and, save a couple seconds here and there. You don't need that, right? But you can just have your notepad open and say, you know what, these are the gems that I want to buy in Act 1. Make sure I do the lab trials here, here, and here. When I get to Act 2, I want to use a couple regret orbs and move over to these points. And then when I get to Act 3, I'm going to buy these gems, and I'm actually going to switch over into, this is the real build, buy these gems, right? And you can say Act 1, look for movement speed boots. Act 2, make sure I equip my herald, stuff like that. And just having like a notepad with a couple reminders, do a couple trial runs, and time yourself, improve. It'll make at least that league start less painful, and especially subsequent characters continue to improve. You'll start to feel that level of mastery, and study the masters, right? There's VODs, there's really, really good videos by Tai Killer where, he goes fast. You can just run that video in slow speed if you want to, but he does talk in detail about what he's thinking about, what he's doing. There's really good content out there for like mastering those parts of the game. Practice bosses. Make sure you're comfortable. If you want to get those bosses done, do the bosses, Cirrus Maven, the Searing Exarch, Eater of Worlds, those guys. Make sure you understand them, you practice them, especially with your League starter builds, right? Your first time that you fight Cirrus, you might only have, 500,000 DPS or even less. And if you're comfortable with them, it's very easy to do it in Trade League now or in Standard, right? What are you doing with your currency, right? Are you sitting on, even if you're sitting on, 10, 20 exalts, are you going to use them in the next 2 weeks? If not, or go to Standard, right? And buy as many of these fragments as you can, right? Load up on these fragments, practice the bosses. It might be boring. Just do it like once or twice a day. Like you don't have to do it in a big batch. Do 1 to 5 Cirrus kills a day. Practice things, record your gameplay, right? You can just download OBS, record your gameplay, review it, understand exactly what you made as a mistake and why you died, and get better. Continue to improve and get better, and then your League start will be awesome. Play your League starter, yes. So not only do your leveling runs, take a character in Standard, respec your character in League play right now, make it simulate what that League start is, especially with the budget gear, just throw some random rares on it, and try it against different content. See what it feels like at different levels of investment. Know intuitively what it's going to feel like. Like try, right? Practice, right? There's no shortcuts here. A content creator can literally hold your hand and put it on the mouse and, the give you the old, the reach around, the golf swing reach around thing, and like a content creator could do that. But as soon as they let go, you're still going to miss your next golf swing, right? Learning that golf swing will never be improved by someone giving you a warm hug, right? Your golf swing will only improve by you going to the range and swinging until that muscle memory is there. A coach can be there, can give you some feedback and, help you review things. But even then, right, the best thing would be them giving you some tips, and then you record your own golf swing and you go home and you study yourself and you know what to look for, right? It's a complicated, hard video game. If you want to improve, if you get to a plateau, if you're happy at that plateau, that's okay. But if you complain about being at that plateau, you got to put in the work. And there's no shortcuts. It is what it is. If you complain about that, well, that's just reality. I can't help you cope with reality. It is what it is. And then, get better at trading. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I wrote this down because we always hear people complaining about trading. It's okay to give feedback. I understand it is very flawed. I am not trying to defend it, but I encourage you to look at it as an immutable, unmovable object, right? It is what it is. And I'm just going to keep saying this, right? Like, you can be angry at GGG and hate it. But if you're playing trade, and like honestly, I made a whole video about play SSF, right? I think SSF's awesome. Play it if you hate trading. But if you play softcore trade, you are opting into that system. If you want to play Trade League, just understand that it is what it is. The quirks and the weirdness and the scammers and it is what it is. The thing is, if you let yourself emotionally get upset and complain about it, and it will just hurt your performance. Come up with whatever process helps you mentally process engaging with the trade in a way that it is less painful. I have come up with these things myself for my own personal edification, to the point where trading doesn't really bother me at all anymore. And like I've definitely gone through bouts of being like, I hate this. I just whispered 30 people for exalts. But I learned how to trade exalts for chaos, right? Pro tip. Sell your chaos, right? Here's your hot pro tip of the day. Don't try to sell exalts. Sell chaos, right? Or don't try to buy exalts. Sell chaos. This is what you do. 145 exalt, right? Boom. All right, sorry. 145 exalts right there. And then people will come to you and they will buy your chaos for exalts. And they will the trades will come to you, and you don't have to whisper other people. There's things that you can do to make trading better. Study them, learn about it, find the resources that are out there. If something is bothering you to the point where you just get angry, I'm just going to keep advocating SSF for this. But like if you engage in trade, you're in Trade League, you got to get over it. You got to get better at it. Giving feedback to GGG is okay. I think I think it does need to be improved. But if you are playing the game, it's not going to change. You committed. I'm playing this game for for this 3-month league. The trade system is not going to change. I'm going to engage in it. How do I get better at this? And when you're good at it too, right? It's hard to be angry at something that you're good at. If you get, and you can look at the tools. There's things like, I think it's like Mercury Trade, and there's these like extra add-ons that people use to make trading like really, really fast and easy. If you want to have a good league start, definitely get subscribed here, because I will be walking you through my entire process in, as you can see, extreme detail. But the only excuse is you either don't want to, you don't have enough time, or, you're unwilling to. You have control over at least 2 of those things. It's just a game. It fits in your life. Set your life priorities. There's nothing wrong with playing super, super casually, but set realistic expectations for what you're able to do. And if you want to get better, I want to help you get better, so you can follow along with me and see what I'm doing. And we can all have a spectacular, awesome league start together in 3.18 Sentinel League. Thank you for watching. It's good to have you here. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.